But it's tough being away from family.
But the latter part of it is that after the work,
We stay connected with video calls and messages. Merry Christmas.
On behalf of the technical crew, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, and here we are, job continues.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeat, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not going to the talk, please just go.
And it's Hakim Ziyech, who puts the
As the year comes to an end, we want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for your hard work, dedication, and the positive vibe you bring to Voice of the People every day. From all of us on the HR, we would like to say Merry Christmas, a happy, prosperous, and healthy New Year. Thank you.
Ẹ̀yin tèmi ní Nàìjíríà lókè òkun, mò ń kí yín fún Kérésìmesì ọdún yìí á yabo fún wa o. Gbogbo àlàrí bá ti ṣe tààrọ̀ náà gbégbá o. I wish my fans all over the world, in Europe, America, Australia, everywhere, a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Catch ya next year.
We are here with the leadership of VOP Television Lagos. We do appreciate this opportunity to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to our viewers all over the world and admirers. Cheers.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. But for us, the technical crew,
It's weird for technical people to be in front of camera, but I just want to say,
now this one they make me come outside every day. Anytime when they call me, I will rush come outside. We don't get holiday.
our holiday is part of our daily routine and we've embraced it.
I must say the work is challenging, engaging, and interesting.
We are all families here at VOP, and we the technical crew.
For us, it's another day on the job.
But it's tough being away from family.
But the lighter part of it is that after the work,
We stay connected with video calls and messages. Merry Christmas.
On behalf of the technical crew, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, and here we are, job continues.
Yes, Fina. I'm trying to check how strong my fist is so that I can. You need to do is Boxing Day.
Is
so
it,
that
is
I
it up
can.
to the punch you want to throw now for the boxing to happen? Is it up to 25
Can it get to you? It's even more than that.
I'm going to take maybe
Okay,
measure behind
you
it. I
take
have
a
to
dive.
dodge it,
Okay,
yes.
you have to dodge it.
Exactly.
Oh, well, good morning and thanks for joining us on VOP morning this morning. Now, today is Boxing Day, but it's not your typical boxing where you go hitting people, breaking their eyes and noses and all of that. It is all about putting your gifts inside a box like we have here. Put your gifts inside a box and give to your loved ones. Today is Boxing Day, and happy Boxing Day from all of us from VOP television. Now, the typical idea of it is that it's an expression of love. It doesn't necessarily mean that you must have millions, before you can give somebody. My father used to tell me, growing up as a child, that look, little things matter. And he used to tell me, if somebody has 10 naira and he cannot give you 1 naira, if he has 100 naira, he will not be able to give you 10 naira. And if he has 1 million naira, he might not be able to give you 10,000 naira. So it's a matter of expression. No matter how little it is, reach out to people. It's a period of giving. It's a period of joy. The Yuletide, let us celebrate in love and unity with one another. Well, once again, good morning and thanks for joining us. Fifi, I hope you have my box ready for me. This is not for you, by the way.
I do.
It's for our viewers. So anybody that gets here first is entitled to having what is inside.
Exactly, but I have a box for you. But don't
Okay.
worry, after the show, we'll go all together to the Christmas tree to unbox it.
All right.
I must have something for you.
Stop it.
Stop it,
All
I
right,
like it.
I like it. Fina, thank you very much. Now, before we get into the major topics of discussion today, there are also other interesting trending stories that we have for you. It's actually supposed to be a wrap, but unfortunately, our wrap is going to come up sometime next week, early next week. But the major stories for discussion today, we'll look into Catholic Diocese confirms release of all abducted St. Mary's School pupils in Niger State as Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu condemns alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria. Away from that, Senator Ndume urges President Tinubu to suspend January 2026 implementation of new tax laws. I understand that there were protests in part of the country yesterday. Nigerians saying, look, no, this is not the best time, to bring the new tax laws into effect because we're already having disagreement. What are the letters? Which one is the correct one between the one that the Senate passed and the National Assembly and the one that was assented to by the President? Nigerians are saying, look, we have to understand which one is the actual law before full implementation. And away from that, unfortunately, Ghana continues crackdown on Nigerians. Arrest 48 days after reporting 42 others. Now, these are the major topics of discussion. But we also have other interesting trending stories that we weigh in on in the course of the program. Fifi?
All right, and Fina, okay, we're talking about other trending stories that made it to a white table today. The Igbo Sociocultural Organization, Haneza and Igbo Worldwide, has designated the last Sunday of every January as a special Thanksgiving Day for Igbo in remembrance of their survival during the Nigeria-Biafra Civil War. The decision was taken during the organization's MLB meeting held at the International Conference Center, ICC Enugu, where it was put to a vote and unanimously adopted. Announcing the resolution, the Deputy President General of Ohaneze and Igbo, Prince Okechukwu Nwadinobi, said the Thanksgiving was to acknowledge divine intervention that prevented the total annihilation of Igbo people during the 1967 to 1970 war. He declared that on the last Sunday of every January, all Igbo people will go to church for a special thanksgiving to God for saving them from extermination in Nigeria He further stated that the Senator Azuta Mbata led Ohanaeze Ndigbo deemed it necessary anyway to institute an annual day of gratitude, stressing that with God, the support of a few Nigerians and the international community, the Biafran cause and the Igbo people might have been wiped out. Interesting one. I saw the story and I was like, okay, fine. Finally, after how many years after the war, the Igbos have decided to say they need a day, map out to celebrate and also to thank God for saving them from the planned or total annihilation that they would have faced.
The Igbos already had that.
That is not really recognized because we're having the back and forth.
So who has recognized this?
At this point, we saw the IPOB saying that a certain day must be a day for the people to sit together.
Tachetme.
Yes, yeah. And it's causing rift. Some people are saying we shouldn't go on to have a day for that, especially the Nigerian government. They've never woken up to say something actually played out during that. We also saw the Asaba people also talking about a day for them to celebrate the massacre that played out and all that, more like, commemorate the people that lost their life when they were not even involved in any war. And now we're seeing the Nwajobi faction of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo saying that what happened to Isiguzoro?
No, that one is not recognized. This is the authentic faction of Ohanaeze Ndigbo.
You're saying they're
because
not
an election
recognized.
was duly conducted. Azuta Mbata was elected as the President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo.
All right. So, then now Isiguzoro and co, who also have been making statements on behalf of...
No, you can characterize that one as a faction.
No, the faction.
But this is the main leadership of
the same thing is playing. Whenever I sit down to more like examine what plays out with some organizations and some groups and all that, the politics they play in it is a bit funny. Because if, for example, according to what he said, it was an election that happened. Yes, we had the story too. Enugu's convention and every other thing that played out. But tomorrow, it's just the people saying that they are the legitimate head of this organization, and it further disintegrates them and maybe their idea. We don't see that happen with Arewa Youth, Arewa Consultative Forum and all that, or maybe the Northern Elders.
Arewa, you have Arewa Consultative Forum,
yes.
You have Northern Elders Forum. In the Southwest, you have
Afenifere
you have the
which is also factionalized.
You have the Afenifere Renewal.
Remember that Afenifere was
these
also
things happen all the
factionalized.
time, not just in Igbo land.
But now, why can't the people who organize all those groups now put their acts together to say we have just one voice? Why must we have factions?
So that is politics. That is
when I say faction of it, I know that they have.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just trying to let our viewer know that the Ohanaeze has a leadership, and it is headed by Senator No, not in my own.
Okay.
It's established. Even the federal government, in their wisdom, recognized Azuta Mbata led as the authentic leadership.
I wait for the Chris, what's it called, Mazi Isiguzoro team also to come up to tell us that. But now, what I'm driving at is this. I'm happy that finally the Ndigbos have decided to say that every last Sunday of January should be the day for them to go
that's exactly the point. There's something I want us to understand. This is a Thanksgiving Day. It's a Thanksgiving Day. The main target is Remembrance Day.
Okay.
This is Thanksgiving for the fact that the armistice, that ended the Biafran War was signed in January. 15th of January, 1970.
Yeah.
And so shortly after Christmas, it will be inauspicious, for people to get into celebration again. But I think that is probably why they shifted it to the last Sunday of January, which is more like it should be in the late January 20-something, 24, 25, depending on, how the month runs. But it's important that this has come up at this period. It is not going to take away, the validity of the fact that May 30th is Igbo Day in Nigeria. Whether we call it Igbo Day or Biafran Day, it's a matter of nomenclature, but people understand. I like this because I was born in the middle of the Civil War, so this should make me happy because the federal government of Nigeria had several policies, both economic policies and military policies. It took the intervention of people like General Gowon to say, no, we understand that T.Y. Danjuma and Murtala Muhammad said that you need to, cut with the grass. And what they meant by weeding the grass is to exterminate
total
annihilation of people between age of 0 and 6 years in Biafra land. And if that had happened, I probably would not be here to do this broadcast this morning to celebrate with my people. By January 15th of January 1970, I was less than 2 years. So I would have been caught in that web. So it's a good thing to me and millions of my age mates, people who were born within that period. And so it's worth celebrating. And we thank God for this. But unfortunately, it's difficult to exterminate a race. I can't remember a race that has been exterminated. Even what Europeans did in United States of America, we still have pockets of red Indians, here and there. The Nazis couldn't exterminate the Jews. And today, after about 75 years of war, Israel happens to be one about the strongest countries, in the world. And they are doing everything in agriculture, in medicine, in economics, in physics, in technology, revolutionizing these sectors of humanity and bringing up products, that scale human life. And if we had the opportunity in Biafra land, in Igbo land, I think this is what we would have done. But unfortunately, we are better off in Nigeria. I've always believed that, look, that Nigeria, it's our unity in diversity is our strength, and we should harness it. I like the fact that we are one as a country. It gives us more opportunities. We have a living space. What Hitler called the Lebensraum, a living space for people to express themselves and all of that. The Igbo people have it in Nigeria. The Yoruba people have it. The Hausas have it.
But if you ask
people
me,
go to every part of the country and settle.
But now, when you check it out, Chukuma, I beg to disagree a bit when you say that, we not like the Igbo people have a space in Nigeria. If they do, we will not have any cause for people tomorrow to be agitating marginalization. Recall the no victor, no vanquish statement.
No, Nigeria is a work in progress.
No, but it can't continue being a work in progress when some people are more like benefiting more from whatever thing is it that's supposed to make us an entity. No, you don't say we're work in progress.
No, it's work in progress.
No, when you say we're work, I am always I don't know, maybe because some will say you're Gen Z. I'm not Gen Z anyway, but some will say I don't like that. I'm not Gen Z.
It's historical. But I understand where you are coming from.
Until when we sit together and understand and recognize that we all are a single entity as a nation, and what is good for the goose should be good for the gander, then we'll have a way to move forward. Because we check out what is playing out. We have the Southeastern Asset tomorrow. The reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction policy that was brought up is lagging in that area. And the reason for that...
I understand all of that.
So
that's why I say historically, it's work in progress. Just like
I don't think it's work in progress.
After the American Civil War, you know what happened between the Unionists and the Confederates and all of that. And you know how long it took for the South to even produce a president.
But when you check this out, Chukuma,
the civil rights, in the 1940s, in the 1950s, what Rosa Parks did, what Martin Luther King Jr. what was Al-Shabaab, Malcolm X, and all of that, everything that they did. Those things are yielding fruits now. The black man has a better place in the United States.
So for how long? How long is it going to take?
Despite the fact that they are what we call the white supremacists and all of that, it is human nature, it is dynamic. Even if you go to Europe, there are ethnic minorities that are still struggling to find a space. You recall what happened in Ireland between Northern Ireland and all of that. So it's work in progress. We will get there.
I don't think it's work in progress.
It's not going to be automatic.
No, let me tell you why.
I'm a realist. I'm telling you.
I know you're a realist. Me too. I'm also a realist. But I also tell you that I bet to disagree, because if you say it's a work in progress, we would have seen deliberate action, deliberate intention for such actually to play out in that region. I don't know, but I don't like telling people where I'm from.
So what do you want?
No, I expect them actually to have a level of inclusivity from the people of that side. After you made a statement that was made by some generals during the war about how they're supposed to weed the grass and all that, fine, they couldn't do the weeding of the grasses. But today, it's more like we have a deliberate attempt or deliberate intention of some people to keep on making those people not to come up, for them to keep on being suppressed, for them not to, have equal, let's say, representation. That's why someone will say something.
That's why I said that Nigeria is work in progress. I'm not sure that there is any hamlet in the whole of this country that you go to, you not see an Igbo man. There is no local government area in this country that you not see an Igbo man, a Yoruba man, an Hausa man, an Urobo man, an Efik man. We are building.
You're building?
Yes.
And someone said something that due to the cross-carpeting...
Yesterday, the president just promised us that he's going to protect people of all faiths, different faiths.
Please, I don't want to take or say anything about the promises made by the president and also the statement they've been making, because we know, I know.
No, I don't know.
You know it's a political statement.
No, I don't know.
But now,
the president is doing he has promised us to do that.
If he says a work in progress, I don't see the reason why someone will say that due to the cross-carpeting or the movement of a particular individual from the East to the ruling party, that will now bring them, the people of the East, now to the major players.
But Fina, I know you're a patriotic Nigerian.
I am.
You are. I
am a patriotic Nigerian.
So now, believe me, Fifi, just believe me that Nigeria is work in progress. Bashir A. Shaba, Senior Special Assistant SSA to Niger State Governor Mohammed Bago, has resigned from his appointment, citing dissatisfaction with political developments and governance in the state and across Nigeria. Shaba in a letter explained that his decision followed careful reflection and consultation. He noted that his resignation is born out of growing dissatisfaction with the prevailing political developments and governance direction in Niger State and Nigeria at large, which no longer align with his personal conviction, principles, and vision for joining public service. Well, he described his understanding of politics as a tool for public service and accountability. Shaba also announced that he had left the All Progressives Congress, APC. Now, people are leaving the APC.
For ADC.
I hope people will not say that, look, somebody is forcing them to leave the APC, and join the African Democratic Congress, ADC. He clarified that his resignation was not due to personal disagreements, but to create a new chapter in his political career. We see these things happen once in a while, and most times I'm surprised that it's only in the north that people resign from government. The other time it was one Abdullahi Yusuf that resigned, and he said he was resigned to ensure that the president does not come back to office. We also saw Hakeem Baba Ahmed, leave his position, very juicy position, political advisor to the president, resign his position and say, look, I don't like the direction this government is going. Now we have Shaba resign, not just from the government in Niger State, but from the All Progressives Congress and going to the ADC, which is more like the new color of opposition in Nigeria. A lot of people don't know what is going on and with the PDP. And so when we see people like Shaba say, look, I'm leaving the All Pro. By the way, he's not the first person that has left.
No, he's not.
One woman, Hajia Mogaji, one Haga, on top of my head, I can't recall his name, also left the APC. A couple of people are leaving the APC. So when Nigerians say that, look, Nigeria is tending towards a descent to one-party state, others will cite instances like people that are leaving the APC to join other parties. But I think the issue is the frequency and the rate of, defection from the APC to the other parties. Well, Shaba, I wish you luck in your new endeavor. You say you don't like the direction that Bago is traveling in Niger State. A lot of people don't like. I don't like too, because Bago has made some very unthinking decisions that when you examine them, you begin to wonder whether they were thought through, properly thought through and all of that. Like when he said that police should start arresting young men with dreadlocks and all of that. And he was the one also that said they shouldn't report. Was it the one that said they shouldn't report?
It was his...
Kwara State.
Yes,
Kwara State and all of that. But there was another...
He sealed a media house.
A media house and all of that. A lot of people don't like the level the direction he's traveling. So now this brings us to the issue of our democracy. Is it thriving? When we see people say, look, I don't like what is going in this party. I don't like what this government is doing. And they have the opportunity, the freedom to leave and join other associations. It's a good thing for our democracy.
When you say it's a good thing, Chikuma, I hope and I believe that there will not be a political witch hunt to this gentleman who left for another party. Because that is what most times we see play out, within the Nigerian political space. If
maybe they'll start investigating.
Exactly. I'm happy you understand. But let's take a cue from what played out sometime in Delta State. We learned about allegedly a certain amount of money, trillion naira thereabouts,
1.3,
tied to the former governor of the state. And then he was called in for questioning. And after that, it wasn't up to 3 months or thereabout. We saw mass exodus of both the governor, present governor now, and his team to the ruling party. And guess what happened? No one is talking about that again till today. And although I have been of the support that if anyone is, if you think someone is culpable of any crime or whatever, go in, arrest the person, do the necessary prosecution. If need be, send this person to jail, let the person face the wrath of law. But if you check out what is happening, it's more like when you fall out of favor from the ruling party, or maybe when you no longer align with them or whatever thing is that they do, and when you are with them, you commit 1 or 2 infractions, they will come for you. They will open your chapter.
So now my advice to people that are in government
is to stay clean,
is to stay clean. So that it's not when you leave, and when they come after you, say, no, it's because I'm no longer with them. We always mention here a certain man who left. And nobody has anything against him. They have turned his paper 360 degrees. They have gone to Babalawo to look to see if they can find anything. They have nothing against him. Talking about PTOD. So if you are in government, ensure that your hands are clean, so that when you leave and they come after you, not tell us, oh, it's because I left their party. It's political witch hunt and all of that. My brother, if you have skeletons in your cupboard, me here, if it is witch hunt, we will hunt you. We'll hunt you down and recover our money.
But we expect to see the same volume or the same speed of light in which they go for opposition members now. We want to see it being replicated in how
Are you not seeing that?
No, I'm not seeing it. If I'm seeing it...
After they arrested Ngige and kept him for after they arrested Ngige and kept him for like 3-4 days, they called for a meeting in Abuja. He quickly went to Abuja.
Yes, and then he was granted bail.
Good.
Now...
we see people in this APC that have been tried, by this government.
Chukuma, if you want to speak truth to power this morning, I know you're not trying to play the devil's advocate, but all the same, this is Boxing Day. To avoid us having a fiscal feast on this white table this morning.
I'm not ready for that.
Now, the thing is, check the likes of, what's his name again, the former governor of Kogi State.
He's undergoing prosecution.
When you say he's undergoing prosecution, if genuinely or really he's undergoing prosecution at this point, we also saw that he returned, the school he paid a certain amount of money to for the children, returned the money. That's number one evidence to indict him. Hold on. Now, if he's really undergoing prosecution, we wouldn't see the ruling party call his name as the people that have been given mandates to make sure that any opposition party will not take other elections coming up, especially the off-cycle election that will be coming up next year.
He's innocent until proven guilty.
No, but that's
if we are looking for a certain 8 billion naira of Kogi State money, and the school returns less than 1 billion naira, I mean, we are still looking for 79.
That is a way to say.
Okay, you want us to put him in jail?
If the school returned 1 billion, like we're just making this more like if the school had to return 1 billion, that shows there is more where this is coming from.
Exactly, that's why the case is in court.
I am not happy. It hurts me. Nigerians, we have to actually face it the way it is. Some time ago here in this country, some people raised more like an allegation. I'll use the word. About a certain man that was appointed to take care of the insecurity happening in Nigeria. The person who worked with him as his deputy raised alarm. We have a certain clerk or a sheikh in that place too, talk about his activities and maybe connivance with a terrorist group and all that. And then what happened? We're told that the government is looking into it. It was called in for questioning. It wasn't up to 1 or 2 or 3 days. We learned that there's nothing actually found on him. Few weeks ago, a certain man who was appointed to be the part of the peace mediation group also come up with evidence and information to tell Nigerians that this particular person really did what he was accused of doing. And we are not getting anything about that. And tomorrow we'll say that the international organization is trying to denigrate us. Nigerians are denigrating Nigerians by speaking about things happening in Nigeria. We have people who have been fingered in one way or another for abuse of office and also the misuse of public funds. And you're telling me that what happened? We saw what played out when we're talking about going back and forth with whether it is justifiable for someone to sack people.
I understand your position. What you have to blame is our criminal justice system. It took 12 years for former governor of Abia State, OUK, to be prosecuted. And at the end of the day, the jail. So I think we need to reform our criminal justice system to to fast track corruption cases, not just corruption cases, but all cases. So and I think the current CJN Kekere Ekun has promised to, to do that before she leaves office.
I'm happy
and I just pray that she does that. Well, let's just inform you that the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has made 4 telephone numbers available to residents of the Federal Capital Territory to report uncleared refuse in their areas. Well, this is aimed at addressing the growing waste problem in the FCT by ensuring that waste management contractors do their jobs as at when due. In a test statement recently, Senior Special Assistant to FCT Minister talking about Leroy Olainka urged members of the public to send pictures and videos of uncleared refuse to the phone numbers through WhatsApp. He said the location of the pictures and videos should be specified to identify the contractors covering the areas. I think this is important. Unfortunately, we don't have the phone numbers, but if you go through the net, you'll be able to see the phone numbers. And if you reside in Abuja, if you have refugees in your area, just call that number, so that they'll come and clear it. Nigeria, like I said, is work in progress. It's hands-on. People should just do what is important. And for you that is disposing your refuse, make sure that you do it at the appropriate time, not when they clear the refuse. The moment you come back and drop your own, it look as if the contractors are not doing a good job. There are timelines, between 6 and 7 or between 6 and 8, depending on where you are living. So it's important that we do all of that. Fifi, any word for you on this?
All right, the only thing I have to say is they should make sure they see through this, not when Nigerians start reporting about, people not clearing of the refuse and all that. And then we also learned that it's more like some people are trying not to uphold the good work of the FCT minister and also the FCTAs. Then also, I don't have issues with employing local contractors to help take care of the works, but I believe we'll not see tomorrow people will be on the street of Abuja protesting unpaid money or wages or whatever over the work they must have done, because we see that happen. We see people coming out every time to protest that they've worked, they've done this work, at the end of the day, they're not being paid. So I believe now that with this new directive and also the numbers were made available, that FCT, that's the Federal Capital Territory, will, take a new leaf or maybe have a new face and, will not have any back and forth with dumping of refuse and every other thing.
All right, now let's quickly run through the papers. The papers are late this morning. I guess everybody is at home trying to exchange gifts and all of that. Fifi, when we are done, we'll go home and do ours. Now, let's start from the Punch newspaper, with the window headlines. Bono bomb blast sparks heightened security nationwide. Tax law mismatches pose serious risks, CIT and once. I'll take that again for clarity. Tax law mismatches pose serious risk, CIT and one. Now, CITN is Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Christmas, governors, APC, Saraki preach tolerance. And beside the nameplate, NNPC director's pay soars 58% to 4 billion naira. I'll take that again so that you'll understand what we are saying. NNPC director's pay soars 58% to 4 billion naira. 2026 budget, now this big story. Anambra, Enugu, Kano lead in education funding. Akwa Ibom, Imo lag in education allocations as 16 states fall below UNESCO benchmark. 7,900 inmates pardoned in 3 years. We have a lot of criminals in this country. 7,900 inmates.
You were told that the society prepares the crime that people commit.
Okay, now Christmas Day tanker explosion claims 2 lives in Lagos. Quite unfortunate. FG reshuffles NCAA directors amid corruption allegations. Now, this is from the Punch newspaper.
All right, the Daily Trust is up next. Beneath the masthead, Wajabiamila not replaced as Chief of Staff Presidency. 2 killed, many injured in Lagos tanker explosion. Stakeholders set agenda for new oil sector regulatory chiefs. We have the banner headline, Peaceful Christmas Nationwide. And beneath the picture that we have from the church attendants, a Borno mosque blast. I watched worshippers fall. That is coming from Imam. Those are the stories on the cover page of the Daily Trust newspaper today.
Okay, and from the Nation newspaper, window headlines. Pope seeks peace, justice in war-torn communities. 25-story Great Nigeria Insurance House for demolition. Poor electricity supply in Lagos, orders likely to linger. 6 Zamfara PDP lawmakers dump party for APC. Now the big story, Nigeria, US hit terrorists in Northwest. I'll take that again for emphasis. Nigeria, US hit terrorists in Northwest. It is the Nation newspaper that is reporting this, apparently telling us that, look, US is here, as have hit terrorists in Northwest. There is also a letter of appreciation, to His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and it is coming from Senator Dr. Ali Modu Sharif, SAS, former governor of Borno State. And that's it from the Nation newspaper. And that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines. We'll return at 10 o'clock for extended review of news stories on cover page and inside stories. Now we'll go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk about one major important story. Well, Catholic Diocese confirms release of all abducted St. Mary's school pupils in Niger State as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemns alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria. Join us again. We'll be right back.
Whether you've been with us through the ups and downs or just joined us for this festive season,
take a moment to cherish the moments you've made and look forward to making new ones on the horizon.
May this new year bring you everything good, everything prosperous.
As we bid farewell to the old year and welcome you to the new year,
may your heart be filled with joy and your home with laughter. And of course, may your spirit be filled with hope.
We'll be bringing you live updates, exciting performance, and inspiring stories throughout the day.
stay tuned for our special New Year's coverage and let's make this year unforgettable.
Thank you for making us a part of your celebration.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. But for us, the technical crew,
it's weird for technical people to be in front of camera, but I just want to say,
now this one they make me come outside every day. Anytime when they call me, I will rush come outside. We don't get holiday.
Our holiday is part of our daily routine and we've embraced it.
I must say the work is challenging, engaging, and interesting.
We are all families here at VOP and we the technical crew.
For us, it's another day on the job.
But it's tough being away from family.
But the lighter part of it is that after the work,
we will stay connected with video calls and messages. Merry Christmas.
On behalf of the technical crew, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, and here we are, job continues.
It's a season of love, a season of joy, a season to celebrate you because you deserve it. From all of us at Voice of the People TV, we only want to wish you a very merry, happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year ahead.
As the year comes to an end, we want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for your hard work, dedication, and the positive vibe you bring to Voice of the People every day. From all of us on the HR, we would like to say Merry Christmas, a happy, prosperous, and healthy New Year. Thank you.
Yes, I changed my name. I am a friend of the microphone. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios. Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging, picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I'll be like, well, this TV station will go places. Voice of the People TV.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV. Live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro!
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Ovisha Nelson One, your #1 celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
You've been wonderful all through the year, and this is from us, Voice of the People Television, saying Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to you all. See you at the top.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Once again, we wish you happy Boxing Day. Now, we have information. Before we get into our major topic of discussion, President Donald Trump says the U.S. military has carried out deadly airstrikes against ISIS, that is ISIS targets in northwest Nigeria. In a Christmas Day post on X, Trump claimed the terror group had been targeting and killing Christians and said the strikes were ordered in response. He warned that the attacks were the result of what he described as continued violence against innocent civilians, adding that the U.S. will act decisively against terrorism. Now, there's been no independent confirmation of the operation as at press time, as we're announcing this. Well, more than a month after pupils of St. Mary's Catholic schoolgirls were abducted, the Catholic Diocese of Kontagoro has formally brought closure to the incident, confirming that all affected pupils and staff have been rescued. The diocese said the pupils were reunited with their families following a detailed reconciliation exercise. In a statement on Thursday signed by the Bishop of Kontagora, Most Reverend Bolus Dawa Yohana, the diocese disclosed that a final verification confirmed that 230 pupils and staff members were abducted during the attack in Agwara local government area of Niger State and have since regained their freedom. The diocese explained that the reconciliation process was necessary to address public concerns and conflicting figures that emerged in the immediate aftermath of the November 21 abduction, which occurred amid panic and confusion. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has confirmed attacks against Christians in Nigeria, describing the alleged displacement and violence as unacceptable and calling for an immediate end to what he termed militant assaults on Christian communities. Speaking as Israel's Prime Minister in the holidays address to Christians worldwide, he warned that persecution based on religion cannot be justified anywhere. Well, we've been joined in the studio here by Mr. Somi Oranta to help us make sense of this. Mr. Oranta is a philosopher, he's an entrepreneur, author, and public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Mr. Sonny Oranta.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning.
Happy Boxing Day.
Yeah, we start boxing or what? Okay, I can see the gift.
Okay, you can see the gift. That box is for you. Please, you go with it when you are leaving.
Oh, yeah, that's great, man.
Beautiful.
I've actually not received any gifts.
Don't worry, this is your first gift. This is your first gift. Mr. Oranta, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, we heard that like about a month or so ago, we heard guns are blazing. And now, this morning, Nigerians woke to the fact that Trump said, look, guns have started blazing in Nigeria, northwest, and that have hit ISIS targets. Mm-hmm. What's your reaction to that?
You know, this life is a very deep place. We are not just physical beings, having an occasional spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So every action of man, we don't need God to come and start. The subconscious, every human being has the subconscious essence that documents everything that we do, even in our deepest secrets, in our closet. So, these terrorists promised Nigerians that they are going to give us a Christmas present that they were going to destroy, they were going to deal with Christians, they were going to bomb churches and all that. And the whole country, in fact, there were churches were asked not to hold crossover services. A lot of things, precautions, were issued out. Do you know, it now happened that the Americans, their bombs and guns came ablazing in the area where that girl was killed, Deborah Samuel.
Yes.
You see how nemesis, the law of cause and effect, operates in our lives. So, it's a great news.
Okay.
It's a great news because our system has proven incapable of handling this situation.
Okay.
What you cannot do, when somebody wants to help you, you have to take it. And in this case, you don't have a choice.
Okay, you don't.
After all, Nigeria went to other areas, other people's countries, to carry out actions which they deemed okay. And in this case, Nigerians are dying in their numbers. And these people, they are so audacious when they talk about it. They do videos, they do. And Nigeria was telling us, say, we want to ask social media
to bring down their
Can you imagine?
Okay.
So mundane discussion, so illogical. They're talking about something.
Mr. Ranta, don't you think that the Nigerian government, working in collaboration with the United States, use that as a distraction, to take away, their attention from?
Let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you the truth. I may not confirm this truth 100%, but right inside of me, I know that the actions of America, they didn't carry Nigerian government along. But if they had done that, the thing would have been leaked.
Okay, but we have a major media house report that, look, it is Nigeria and US, that did the bombing.
When the Department of War issued statement, did they say it's a joint operation? They didn't say so.
Would we be seeing the US government sending their person to come have a renegotiation or maybe a discussion with the Nigerian government? We saw that also played out in Abuja. The back and forth, the meetings that were being held. Even the Riley Moore who came into Nigeria to check out things. Don't you think that the attack or the launch was still
might have actually been a collaboration?
Yes.
Well, I still do not believe it that there's a collaboration to that extent. Look, there are things. The Americans are not fools now. During the time of Jonathan, look at how many years ago.
Okay.
They made plans and they divulged that plan to the Nigerian security authorities, and that plan was passed immediately.
Okay, and it leaked.
To the people, and it leaked.
Okay. Now, Mr. Uranta, before we go to our virtual guests, we've been joined by two of our virtual guests. I would like to ask you this question. Did you believe when Trump said all of these things, and at a point it looks like there was a law, a lot of people believe that days, or a week after Trump said guns are blazing, that he was going to do it. At that point, did you believe that Trump was going to come to Nigeria to do something? Were you convinced, or do you think that he was just giving out sound bites?
Let me tell you, I have been reading Donald Trump 15 years before he became president.
Okay.
He's a man that does what he said he will do. He means what he said and says what he meant. He's not a man that blabbs.
Okay, so you didn't wish it away. You knew.
I knew he was going to act.
Especially when he asked the Department of War, Hexed, to prepare for war.
Even when he asked the legislature to give legal bites to that statement, I knew. In fact, the moment he mentioned it, I knew it was going to happen. Trump is not a man that says something and starts doing something else. No.
Okay, now we'll come back to you shortly. When we are going to talk about what some people have termed the economic aspects of this strike and this intervention or interference or involvement or collaboration between Nigeria and the United States of America. Good morning to you, Barrister Eze Luche. We've been joined by Barrister Eze Luche. He is a barrister at, he's an attorney, legal, luminary, and political affairs analyst.
Good morning, my brother.
Good to have you, sir. Happy Boxing Day. Good to have you. How have you been?
No, we're cool. We're cool. In the east, it's bustling, so beautiful to be home, and it's wonderful.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So now you are speaking from Owerri. Before we get into this conversation, I'd like for you to, give us a feel, of what is going on in Owerri. Are houses locked? Are the streets empty? Are people scared? When people walk the streets of Owerri, what do they feel? The streets of Imo State, is it some kind of safety or a sign of surrender? You know, what sense does it look like to you?
Well, the place is safe, it's bustling, it's the Christmas festivities are all over, masquerades are dancing everywhere in the communities that have masquerades, church ceremonies are taking place. So the East Owerri in particular is very peaceful, and I will invite everybody to come over. I mean, have a feel of the place. For a very long time, what has been happening in the Southeast has been orchestrated, externally orchestrated. And most of us here feel that even the security agencies, the government security agencies and their mercenaries, particularly Asari Dokubo and his people, have been part of the nonsense. But the people have come back and they are in full control of their place now. So there's even no space for any funny things to happen. The Ndume where I fully on ground.
All right, beautiful. But Eluche, I'd like for you to, to react to the information we have this morning that, look, United States has hit some ISIS targets in parts of the Northwest. Did it come to you as a surprise?
Certainly not. Certainly not. You see, the U.S. is a process-driven country. They announce policy and allow the process to roll out, and then mark out their targets and hit them at will. That is what has happened now. A few weeks back, some people were saying that it was all bluster, that after the visa ban on Nigerians, the U.S. government has shown that it really had no interest in any part of Nigeria. But the reality is this. The entire world has a duty to protect, a responsibility to protect where people have been almost killed on a daily basis by terrorists and by their own security agencies. So I was not surprised in any way whatsoever, and I actually expect more. I expect more in the sense that there is claim by the government that they were part of it, they were other stuff. We know this just being politically correct. I mean, if they had told the Nigerian authorities what they were going to do, all the terrorists will leave that place.
Okay.
And then the question now should be addressed to the Sultan of Sokoto, who claims to be the Lord and Master of the entire Sokoto Caliphate. Was the Sultan aware of the presence of this ISIS in his territory? What has Sultan Said done to restrain these killers from operating from Sokoto? If he is part of it, if in any way he's found to be complicit in the presence of these criminal elements, then perhaps there should be more direct efforts to curtail the excesses of the Sultan. Because on several occasions, this same Sultan has come out blazing and making so much noise. Now the terrorists are in his domain and he's not done much. That is what I want to say. Okay, now, Barrister Eluche, you understand that I would like for us to talk about the implication of this. Do you think that this strike is going to bring peace and lasting peace, if I may say? I ask that in the light of the fact that a certain cleric, an affiliate, somebody who is known, to be an intermediary between Nigerians, or so to say, between the terrorists and the government at some point, talking about Sheikh Ahmad Gumi. He was on this station the other time and he said, look, if Donald Trump as much as touches one of these bandits or terrorists, that the terrorists and the bandits who are Muslims were going to unleash mayhem on Christians. Do you see that coming? And if that happens, do you think that America's involvement is going to bring lasting peace in Nigeria, or is it going to make Nigeria unravel like places like Afghanistan, places like Yemen, where you have sectarian war, or places like Iraq and all of that? Do you think it's going to bring lasting peace? Now, I have very many Muslim friends, and nobody wants terrorists in his domain. So characters like Sheikh Gumi were talking absolute nonsense. And the more he talks, the more he makes himself complicit in this criminality. So let him come out and unleash that mayhem, and he will see the stars that he deserves. In fact, the inability of the Nigerian government to curtail such elements is what makes some of us believe that the Nigerian government and collaborating with these terrorists. If a country like Saudi Arabia, the bastion of Islam, can deny Gumi entry visa, why must Nigeria tolerate such characters, such criminal elements? And when you say it's a go between the government and the terrorists, that's not true. The man is in fact, he's in bed with terrorists. He collects money on their behalf. He is, by what he does, a terrorist. The fact that this government continues to tolerate such elements makes us believe that the government is complicit. I do not believe that any Muslim anywhere will feel associated with this element, with this
Apart from Sheikh Ahmed Gumi Barrister, we have also a Professor Usuf, a certain Professor Yusuf, who told the newly appointed Minister of Defense that he shouldn't go all out, in flushing out these elements. Rather, they should also employ the non-kinetic measure. And, in handling this, already say, you don't think Muslims are in support of this. We've seen some of them come out to say, don't go all out. Don't use military might. And in the words of the Yusufi said, now, Christopher Musa, remember you're now a political elected official, appointed official, no longer a military personnel. So don't go all out with your fist on these bandits or elements we have in Nigeria.
No, I only mentioned Sheikh Gumi as an example. Him and all others of his like, all cohorts, all those who have the same views with him, that you must engage and discuss and negotiate with terrorists, should be dealt with. And the average Muslim on the street is peace loving. Islam, like they say, is a religion of peace. So those who terrorize in the name of Islam are not tolerated anywhere, even in the Islamic world, in the Arabian Peninsula, in Saudi, in UAE, in Kuwait. Those guys are slaughtered. So let those who claim they are in support of these terrorists in Nigeria, let them come out and let us see them.
Now, do you think the Nigerian government will do anything to make sure we end the issue of terrorism, especially when, according to Goodluck Jonathan, when he was there, he said that in his cabinet he has some members of Boko Haram, group there. And also, we've also learned from the former governor of Kaduna State that the government of the Kaduna State presently is more like negotiating with bandits to the tune of 1.something billion being spent on them. And we saw what was playing out with I think the State Minister for Defense, where people have been pointing him as someone who is in good book of this terrorist, to the likes of George Bello coming up to tell Nigerians that, Matawale should not be arrested, but the former governor of Castina and Zamfara should go in. So do you think we're going to end the issue of attacks or banditry or terrorism, let me use the word now, in Nigeria anytime soon, even with the involvement of the United States of America?
Well, the thing is, attack on terrorists should continue until they are totally eliminated. When people like even Nasir El-Rufai begins to talk, you wonder what he's just trying to save his neck. We know what he even told Nigerians he did as a governor. Nasir El-Rufai publicly claimed that he went as far as Mali, Burkina Faso, to pay off terrorists who were coming to kill people in Southern Zaire. So he cannot now come and start changing. We know his characters. And even people like the current vice president, Kashim Shettima, it was in his house that Kabiru Sokoto was arrested. So let us not mince words. If it means anybody who is involved in terrorism, no matter how highly placed, must be brought to justice, because they are criminals. And I'm not saying that the vice president is but he's implicated. He is implicated. As governor of Borno State, what did he do? What was his role when Boko Haram was bombing and killing people? Now, what should be an eye-opener for Nigerians is this. When you see turbaning ceremonies, when you see wedding fatihas, where thousands of people gather, of the high and mighty, of those who are in bed with terrorists, you don't see them being bombed by these terrorists. Why? Because they know themselves. They only go for school children. If you are holding a wedding fatiha or you are holding a turbaning ceremony in the Emir's palace, in the Sultan's palace, and nothing happens, you begin to suspect that maybe nothing is happening because they know these terrorists. And we have now realized that indeed the terrorists are on the payrolls of these governments.
All right.
So
thank you.
Enough of all these prevarications. Let the government come out frontally and destroy terrorists. And if Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not act accordingly, if he does not act well against terrorists, he will be treated as one in collusion with terrorists.
Thank you so much, Barrister Izeluche, for your submission. Let's get Mr. or Comrade Frank Ahioshin join the conversation. Comrade Frank Ahioshin, good morning and happy Boxing Day. Good time you join today's conversation. All right, without wasting much time, if you can hear me, I want you to, what's your opinion or your stand on the revelation made by the Bishop of Kotangora Diocese in Niger State that all of the kidnapped victims of St. Mary's Catholic School have been reunited with their family members, and we were also told that was there to make sure that the process was also seamless. What do you make of this, and how is it? Some Nigerians are asking, how possible is it for the terrorists or the bandits to move such large number of children and also return them back to their parents without harm? or injury, or even any of them losing their lives. And what do you have to say about this, regarding the fight against terrorism and allegation of how some people are more like aiding and abetting with these terrorists because of their security votes?
Yeah, I can hear you quite. Hello?
I can hear you. If you can hear me, please, I'll need you to answer the question.
Yes, I can hear you quite. On the issue you raised, in my opinion, Nigeria, unfortunately, is not a serious state. In fighting terrorism, it actually falls within the purview of comedy of sorts. I think the only fortune we have that we can count on right now is that the US president has put his voice to it and further taking a step by ensuring that there's action to follow. Unfortunately, as wonderful as this may appear, the best we can get from these lines of intervention are simply temporary reliefs. Because no nation builds another. Nationhood is a responsibility of the collective who have chosen to come together and pursue the cause of their interests as a whole, as a people. So no other country comes to build another one. The best America can do is what she's doing today, or what she did yesterday, and maybe they may do a few more. If Nigeria as a country does not employ the requisite discipline of nationhood to ensure that things work the way they ought, it will just be a case of moving from frying pan to fire within a short while. That is the truth. Look at our trajectory from 2009 till date, especially when the Boko Haram onslaught commenced quite. Go and check our defense budget. Every year there's monumental increase in the budget for defense. There now seems to be quite a proximate relationship between increase in defense budget and increase in security. Because increase in insecurity rather, not increase in security. Because insecurity is now a business in Nigeria. Up here is over 5 trillion. Go and check what the budget was. The last budget that Jonathan passed in his time. The budget for defense alone is about more than the budget of the whole country as at that time, barely a decade ago. How many Tucano jets did Nigeria buy? How many helicopters have been bought? The aircraft that the US used for those strikes, I can bet on the fact that they don't fall within or even close to the range of the Tucano jet that Nigeria spent billions of taxpayers' money to buy that have made no impact. What is the point I'm making? The Bishop's viewpoint is wonderful. We must appreciate the fact that people are happy that they got their kids back, even if they've been held down in some states that could be described as hell for about a month. The fact that they are brought back is worth celebrating. Celebrating not that the government achieved anything. Celebrating not that the government rescued them, because they were not rescued. Something went on behind the scene. Obviously, the terrorists were settled. So it's not a case of government being in charge. What happened in Kosangoda is a case of government being conquered, government submitting to the whims and caprices of another government.
All right, Frank.
Because for anybody in any state, let me learn, please. For anybody in any state to exercise the force of violence, and government does not, as in, duly put that organization or person where it belongs, it only indicates the fact that there's another government. So those guys that did that in a sense like government of their own. Okay. In Nigeria today, I can tell you free of charge that we are talking in this program. These same guys can go and operate in 100 different schools, 100 different communities, and they will succeed.
Exactly the question I wanted to ask you, Mr. Frank Ehiosu. Now, we've been battling this insecurity for close to 2 decades now, as far as I know, more than 15 years. And it's been very difficult for us. You just mentioned how our security budgets keep increasing every other year. But America has stepped in graciously, as some Nigerians will describe it. Now, my question is, how long or how much longer do you think, or how long do you think it will take the United States of America, to clear these people? As we understand, they have also boasted that if you kill 10 of us, you have 100 more people that are ready to get into the fight. Do you think that it will get to a point where America will have to bring in troops in the northwest or in the northern part of this country or any part of this country where insurgency, banditry seems to have taken root? Do you think it will get to that point? And what will be the implication of all of this for Nigeria as a country in terms of our sovereignty, in terms of America having to probably get a base in Nigeria and all of that? How much longer do you think it will take us to take out insecurity in Nigeria?
First of all, when you say we have been battling it for so long a time, I want to change that narrative in a sense. Those of us who, to a large extent, are victims are the ones that I would say are battling it, not the government that we so elected who ought to have that responsibility. When viewed from the lens of the role of government, it's more of the business of insecurity. That is what has thrived in Nigeria. That is the truth. That must be established. Now, on the US coming around and making any form of impact, like I emphasized earlier, I said the best that we can get from it is just temporary relief, maybe for a few days, for a few weeks. Even if America brings our soldiers to the ground to come and fight, were Americans not in Afghanistan for 20 years? Immediately they left, what happened? Even before they left, I emphasized something from the outset. In the history of the evolution of nation states, or nations as the case may apply, no nation builds another. Nationhood is the responsibility of those who have come together as a collective to define the course that they want to take. And Nigeria, as it is today, is actually unfortunately driven by factors that ensure that we are retarded or swimming in the pool of retardation rather than making progress. See, the source of this conflict, the feeding mechanism, is like a limitless bowl. Our governance and political culture ensures that there will be insecurity in Nigeria. So even if you go and bring angels from heaven to come and be the ones fighting, maybe to join the Americans, it will not change the narrative. If you take a cursory look at our history in insecurity, from independence till date, the first man that gave primacy to the concept of such insecurity that pertains to terrorism was Mohammed Mawa. The guy was not even a Nigerian. He's actually from Cameroon. He's from a village called Mawa in Cameroon. He was deported by emergency then in 1962. He was exiled from Nigeria. He came back a few years later after Nigeria had become a republic, and he continued with his onslaught. But because Nigeria, as at that time, still had some semblance of discipline that was required for proper nationhood, they were able to checkmate him and cut him on and on and on until 1980 when he was caught down finally. When the guy was killed, over 4,200 Nigerians were killed in one day. He told us when Nigerian soldiers and policemen came after him. Shagari was the president then, but our military was still very functional. Not the politicized system we have today, where the battle against insecurity is more of a business more than carrying out the real function.
Okay.
So I just say.
All right.
If you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Land on your thought.
Yeah, I just say that as a collective, Nigeria as a country today is not serious. It's not even quite concerned about fighting insecurity as much as it ought to. Okay. Because what we call government in Nigeria is actually a ceremonial institution of people who are there fighting for themselves.
All right.
We don't fall within the purview that what Liebman defined as public interest for real.
All right, and thank you very much, Mr. Frank Ehiosi. Now, let's go back to Barrister Eze Eluche. Mr. Eluche, Frank has said something that strikes me as, well, do we consider that as, do you think that Frank's position is that America is not going to solve the problem, that even if they come, it's going to persist? Do you share his sentiments? Do you agree with him?
Oh, certainly. I mean, and I can assure you that there will be no single American boots on the ground in Nigeria. There will be no single boot on the ground. And what they fired, they didn't even use jets. It was missiles that were fired from thousands of miles away, but they were targeted and programmed. So America will not send troops on the ground. What Nigerians need to do is to have a government, a people's-oriented government, as our rulers, and not characters who just stumble and all they're interested in is in the finances. It's in enriching themselves. That is the problem we have in this country for now. So I do not think there will be any difference. America will not come in on the ground. So we have to address this issue by ourselves. And the way to address it by ourselves is that when we feel pained enough with these terrorists, with the attacks going on, we make sure that we have in place a government that is people-oriented, that is put there by the people, and not guys who rig themselves in and get in there and all they want is money, money, money. That is the problem we have in Nigeria for now. So Nigerians, if you're interested in wiping away terrorism, if you're interested in having security, if you're interested in ensuring that your kids don't get kidnapped, when next you have elections, ensure that your votes count, and that any attempt at rigging it is an attempt to perpetuate the evil that is going on in the country for now.
When you say that the U.S. will not send in foot soldiers to come into the country, are you running out the fact that, no, Nigerians before now with the opinion that we're not going to see, the U.S. presence at all, even when Trump himself made the statement. So are you saying he might go back on his words? And also, what do you think the war against security in Nigeria is moving towards, where we have the likes of Benjamin Netanyahu also making a statement in line with the killings in Nigeria that no country or no one is going to, turn a blind eye or a deaf ear to the cries of Nigerians over the incessant killing of terrorists. Are we seeing, other international bloc or maybe other countries now coming into Nigeria to help, exterminate the terrorists that are killing Nigerians?
Now, when they come in, like the US has already come in this instance now, did they have troops on the ground? No. But have they wiped out some terrorist elements? Yes. So what they need on ground is their firepower, not really the troops. Because if nobody wants to risk their soldiers or their armies for you people, for anybody, American troops will only go to fight for American wars. That is the new policy of the Trump administration. They will only go to fight where American interests are involved. Otherwise,
Barrister, do you think that this might get into, a war of attrition where the terrorists will just, lag, persist, do sporadic strikes here and there to wear out America and the Nigerian government, and the thing will last longer than expected? Do you think it will get to that point? Because it's also a war strategy for guerrilla warfare and all of that. They fight a war of attrition and let you wear out yourself.
I don't think so, because these terrorists, if indeed they are foreign elements, where would they stay? Where would they hide? Because already we see that up north, the northerners in the Hausas, in Kebbi, Zamfara are already fighting their wars by themselves. In the middle belt, the people are already picking up arms. In the southeast and southwest, there is no space for these terrorists. They can easily be fished out. So there's only war of attrition where the people, the population, the indigenous population are part of the terrorists. But in Nigeria, they are not. Most of these terrorists are foreign elements, either from Arabia, from the Tuaregs or the Fullers from across the West Africa, but they are not indigenous.
But they have a huge followership and some kind of sympathizers, in the north.
Well,
because when you try to hit them, you hear a certain set of people, opinion leaders in the north come to say, look, a strike against them is a strike against us, our people. Sympathies for them.
Yes. Now, I assure you, their sympathizers, those enablers, those financiers will be fished out and eliminated. But the population is against terrorists. So people like those characters who keep on saying a strike against the Boko Haram is a strike against the North will be dealt with because they're terrorists.
All right.
I mean, despite whatever office they hold, and we have had some of them even as ministers who go to negotiate. People like Pantami, former Minister of Communication, these are ardent terror sympathizers. Those guys need to be fished out and dealt with.
Okay.
But does the Nigerian population, do they admit or do they condone terrorists? The answer is no. Like I told you, in the southeast, southwest, there is zero tolerance. Middle belt, zero tolerance. In the north, the Hausas are already fighting against them. So where will they hide?
All right.
So there is no war of attrition going to go on. This strike will eliminate terrorists, and that is the end of it.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Ezeluche. Now, we've been joined by Honorable Felix Pascal Pulevo. He's a public affairs analyst and political commentator, and he joins us from Taraba State, which is the northeast, but we understand that the strike took place in the northwest. So let's get a feel of what is going on in the north from Honorable Felix Pascal Pulevo. Good morning to you, Mr. Pulevo, and thanks for joining us on VOP this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chikuma. It's my pleasure.
Okay, good to see you again. Happy Boxing Day.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we hear that there's been a strike, on ISIS targets by the United States of America somewhere in the northwest. Do you have that information? And what's going on in the north as we speak? Can you help us, gauge the pulse of the people in the north, especially where you are joining us from? Has the information filtered, and what is the response of the people?
Okay. Thank you very much. Yesterday evening, almost yesterday night, those of us who are social media compliant saw it online, and then we began to feel the waves around in the community. So for us here in the north, when I woke up this morning, I spoke with 7 of my friends. 7 of my friends across Sokoto, Jigawa, Kebbi, Zamfara this morning to know what's the situation, and one was able to oblige me a video call self.
Okay.
And then he was able to show me how people were reacting to the situation.
Okay.
In my own little northeast here where we are, there is a little divide. Even if you check out the activities on social media, it was a good Christmas gift to the Christians. They have been jubilating and celebrating it. Some genuine and non-fanatical Muslims also commended it, who are not sympathizers of the terrorists. I've read a lot of commentaries from them. They have also commented that, and especially they commented the fact of the surprise nature of the attack. And just like the way some people have opined in the studio, if it is something that was earlier hinted, probably it would have failed. So, but people are happy, people feel more confident, people are excited that something like this is happening, and that people are feeling that we can take that breath of fresh air, that we can really live in this space in our country. That in fact is sad that there are a lot of religious fundamentalists who feel that probably is an attack on a particular religion, especially some of our Muslim friends and brothers. But like the video I watched, there are
exactly.
some...
I was coming to that. I wanted you to tell us what happened. How was it? How did the people feel from the video your friend obliged you?
Yes, when he was there on the street, there were some of them who were jubilating. In fact, there is one old man that was saying in Hausa that he can now freely go to his farm, that they have killed these hooligans that are affecting them and making them not to farm, that hunger wants to kill him at home. That they are happy that whoever is going to give them this peace, they will welcome it, even if it is America or any country of the world. So they are happy. These guys have held them hostage for years because the situation has been such that they live with these people in the community, sir. They are there. They move around with their guns and all, and then you are compelled to not to give any hint or information to anybody. So much so that they know themselves very well, they control them, they sit with them in the market, they drink around with them and all whatnot. And so if peradventure they get to hear that you have given out a hint to anybody, then they pounce on you, they just kill you and all that. In fact, they even ask people for monies before they are allowed to go to farm in some places. That is how sad the situation.
Are these Nigerians? Are you aware if they are Nigerians or foreigners now? Since they have known who they are, more like we interact with them, relate to them. And are they Nigerians? Are they indigenes of those states? Or are we seeing foreign entities do that?
No, basically, most of these guys cover their faces even while they move around in the community. And Hausa is a language that is spoken beyond Nigeria or beyond northern Nigeria. So Hausa is spoken in Niger, in Mali, and some of these African countries that are our neighbors. They speak Hausa there because you still find the Hausa and Fulani people in some of those areas. They speak Hausa, but on a realistic note, you will know from their accent that some of them are not Nigerians. But then definitely there are a lot who are Nigerians. The sad situation is that I was privileged to be in Maiduguri as a 2009, 2010 when Boko Haram started. When this thing started, sir, it was a case of people shielding it. They knew some of those boys who were doing it, but they were now seeing it as if it was something like it was a fight. Maybe we are farmers that farm yam, and then these are boys that are trying to see that our yam is not stolen by others. So they didn't see that it was going to escalate to get to this point. They were looking at it as if they were young men who were coming up trying to protect their faith, trying to ensure the enthronement of Sharia law or Islamic law in the parts of the country and all whatnot. But then over time, it took a different dimension because they were now killing randomly, they were killing indiscriminately and not really going by some of those things, because their ultimate mindset is that when they get you, you find small children, they will tell, especially these Almajiri boys, they will not tell them there is you find somebody has been in this Almajiri system for up to 20 years of his life. He has grown in it. He didn't have the opportunity of Western education, only this one. So now they psych him and tell him that, look at that small boy that was born in that house. You know, they used to go into the houses to beg for food. That look at that small boy that was just born yesterday while you were already grown up. Today, he has come back from the US, or he has finished university within the country. He is driving a car and all whatnot. And you that is his senior, you that is his elder person, you are eating from scraps that fall from their table. That is this a fair system? That your age and whatsoever is not considered and all whatnot. And because, you know, they are limited in this Western education, they easily, because they are gullible, they easily give in to this kind of things and then now say that this Western education is bad because it is not fair, it is not just, it is just for some few persons. And then people are indoctrinated and they keep fighting and killing people indiscriminately.
As a Northerner, you know, can you say it's justifiable for such to go out? We know that in the North, some people even enjoy free education. Some people are being paid to go to school, but yet we see the likes of the Boko Haram, you know, coming up to say that Western education is haram, that people shouldn't indulge in it. So is it justifiable now for such to make it to the table? Because the likes of Sheikh Ahmad Gumi was also suggesting that Nigerian government should find them a suitable education that will also align with their level of understanding, more like going for Islamization. But they are already, you know, being forced or asked to you know, get themselves enrolled in education. In Kano State, for example, have Kwankwa Sudan, have so many schools, the Kwankwa Sia movement, they have all education, even food will be made available. The likes of Goodluck Jonathan also provided schools for them. The former governor of Imo State, in the person of, Rocha Zokorocha, built many Aruman General schools for them to go and get Western education. But it's more like they turned their back towards that. Is it justifiable now for us to say the discrepancies we have in social stratification is what enabled them to pick up arms and start killing people?
It's not justifiable because just the way you said, it's not like they were denied the opportunity. I know a lot of states who have been doing wonderfully well. Even back then, when I got admission, I was in the university. So states like Yobe State, for example, once you pick up admission, if you are admitted to go and study in the university, irrespective of your department or the course you are going to study, you know, as at then, I don't know if it is still running, you will go to their scholarship board and you pick up a state government appointment. So I had some of my colleagues, especially those who are in engineering, you know, and the medical college and all, that were collecting. Automatically you become a civil servant, level 7 in the state government. And then they were the ones rather sending money home. And all these things were put in place by the government to encourage people to go to school. So the government in its own way have put up these measures. In a lot of our northern states today, education is free. In Taraba State, education is free. In Adamawa State, is free education, from primary down to secondary school. The tuition in the universities, especially in the state-owned universities, have been subsidized. Right. Like in Taraba, it's by 50%. So you don't have a reason for some of these kind of things. Okay. But unfortunately, and we are hoping that with some of these measures now, the president is really realizing some of the challenges, and we, unfortunately and respectfully, people like Sheikh Gumi, you know, should be behind bars or, you know, in DSS custody for questioning as we discuss this kind of things.
All right, because thank you so much.
Truly, we shouldn't be having persons revered of his status coming out, you know, to the public, making some of these kind of statements he is making. Those kind of things are decisive, and it clearly people that are collaborated to the whole situation. Because
Thank you.
it's like he knows a lot. So we need to call him and ask him a lot of questions.
Thank you so much, Honorable Felix Pascal Polevo. Thank you for your submission. Let's bring it to the studio before we move over to the next topic of conversation. Talking about Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, Mr. Somi Oranta, Sheikh Gumi called on the president to halt U.S. military, cooperation and the bombardments happening in Nigeria. He just called the president to say, cease or halt all cooperation with the U.S. and carrying out the bombardment in some states in Nigeria. What do you have to say to that, please?
Well, the U.S. do not need Nigeria's cooperation to act. If a nation, we are living in a global village. If any nation state decides to become a terrorist enclave, it behoves of the civilized world. America is the policeman of the universe, for them to go in and take care of this situation, ensure that there's no festering ground for terrorism. Because if you allow it to hibernate in Nigeria, to develop and grow wings and all that, when it is perfectly matured, they will export it to the whole world. So that's why they will not allow it. They do not need Nigeria's cooperation. It is good that Nigeria is cooperating with them, but they do not need Nigeria's cooperation. And now that Israel is also interested in the matter, anywhere terrorism festers in the world, they have a duty to stop it. Because these people are not human beings. They are not. Because they look out for that's the most deadliest way and most creative, in the negative, ways of exterminating their fellow human beings. And I listen to what people are saying here. Some other analysts are saying. You cannot tell a man, you cannot promote education when you say that education, Western education is haram. Meanwhile, everything they use, all the gadgets they use are Western. They are Western technology they are using. And they are blindfolding their people and telling them not to go to school. Okay, how will you promote education more than the way they are doing it in the North? Even when you want to go to public schools, unity schools in Nigeria, those from the North, you need 114 points to go to get admission. But some states in the North, you need only 5, 10, 20, 40 points. That is the areas where they have tried everything. If you want to get admission, the moment you get, he told us here that you are giving money, you are paid to go to school.
All right, Mr. Ranta, this United States involvement, now how do you think it's going to impact the 2027 general election?
Well, it depends on how the government, their level of responsiveness and cooperation. But I think it is, I see an ominous sign, because the president seems to be tied to some certain people. Because you cannot tell me that the Minister of State for Defense, who has been accused by several, stakeholders, people who knows that this man is a sympathizer and enabler of terrorism, and is still there.
Okay.
You cannot tell me that the NSA himself, the highest advisory body that takes care of all the military architecture in Nigeria, will arm terrorists to defend Nigerians.
And still be in government.
And still be in government.
All right.
So, and then you will not tell me that with all this release, adoption and releases, without any explanation, who may not know what transpired, but the Americans know. The international community, at that level, they know.
And Nigerians are watching and seeing what's going on.
So 27 election is going to be very, very hot.
It's going to be very, very hot. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Samir Ranta. Now, let's go back to Barrister Eze Eluche, if he's still with us, and get his concluding thoughts on this before we move into the next topic of discussion.
Well, I mean, it's good that the government of Nigeria is aware that there is greater international attention on how it treats terrorism issues, genocide against Christian issues. And I hope this government will sit up now, because for quite a long time they have taken it as one of those things and focused more on taxation and extorting money from Nigerians, whilst the primary focus of government should be the security of its citizens. So hopefully this will be a wake-up call. And if it's a wake-up call and the government begins to do what it should do, with itself of those who are terrorists amongst its members, no matter how highly placed, then perhaps we may begin to change our views on the government of Bola Tinubu. But as long as it continues on this trajectory, as long as it continues to keep on releasing detained, kidnapped people without telling us how it will happen, without any arrest, Nigerians will forever believe that this government of Bola Tinubu is in bed with terrorists.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Barrister Eze Eluche. We must have to say a very big thank you to you once again. Barrister Eze is an attorney at law and political affairs analyst. Thanks for being part of this conversation. Now, we go for a short break, and when we return, we'll still have Mr. Somi Uranta and Mr. Frank Houston, who joined us from Benin City, and Mr. Uranta, who is with us in the studio. When we return, Senator Ndume urges President Tinubu to suspend January 2026 implementation of new tax laws. Join us again, we'll be right back.
Whether you've been with us through the ups and downs or just joined us for this festive season,
take a moment to cherish the moments you've made and look forward to making new ones on the horizon.
May this new year bring you everything good, everything prosperous.
As we bid farewell to the old year and welcome you to the new year,
May your heart be filled with joy and your home with laughter. And of course, may your spirit be filled with hope.
We'll be bringing you live updates, exciting performance, and inspiring stories throughout the day.
Stay tuned for our special New Year's coverage, and let's make this year unforgettable.
thank you for making us a part of your celebration.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Glad to have you back. It's still VOP this morning. A former Senate leader, Ali Ndume, has appealed to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to suspend the January 1, 2026 implementation of the country's new tax laws amid growing controversy. The federal lawmaker made the appeal in a statement he issued on Wednesday in Abuja, and this comes as the Nigerian Bar Association demanded the suspension of the implementation of the new tax law. Also speaking on the ongoing controversy about the tax law, Ndume noted that proceeding with the implementation without getting to the root of the alleged forgery or alteration will create a legitimacy challenge for the tax laws. Meanwhile, chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, in a monitored television interview on Wednesday, called for calm over claims of alterations in the tax law and urged Nigerians to allow lawmakers to complete their investigation before drawing conclusion. But we're not seeing such also coming up from the likes of Bayo Onanuga, who have also told Nigerians that the tax law passed the necessary process and its implementation on the 1st of January 2026 is what must come up. All right, we also have with us in the studio Somi Uranta, an entrepreneur, author, and a public affairs commentator, and Barrister Eze Eluche, a legal luminary, a political and public affairs analyst, and Honorable Felix Pascal Polevo, who is a public and political affairs commentator, as well as Frank Houston, who is also here with us in the capacity of Republican political affairs analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for staying with us. Let me start off with you, Barrister Eze Eluche. As a legal luminary, we are going back and forth with, there's this allegation of alteration and also addition of some information different from what was gazetted on the National Assembly floor, and the back and forth playing out, and a certain revelation made yesterday by some National Assembly members that when they went ahead to seek for the original copy of the information, the tax law which they deliberated on, they were told that the clerk refused them the information because of the information given by the Senate Speaker, the President of the House of of the senators, I beg your pardon, in the person of Godswill Akpabio. What does this really portend, and why is it that we're having the back and forth, and yet the presidency is insisting that by January 1, 2026, implementation of the country's new tax law will begin?
Thank you very much. There is actually no back and forth. I mean, that is basically what we have is brazen criminality in governance. We thank God for the revelations made by the members of the House of Reps, the honorable members of the House of Reps, Abdul Samad Dasuki and Mansour Soro, who both revealed to Nigerians that what was signed into law is different in material and real terms from what the House passed. Now, why I say there is no back and forth is if there is a difference, then what was signed into law is not a law. The act that was signed is not a law because the Constitution is very clear on this. Nigeria can only be ruled under Section 1 of the Nigerian Constitution, under the constitutional provisions. You can't just begin one day, wake up and sign a law and say you need to rule Nigerians. So if the government tries to implement the new tax law, any part of it that was signed that is different from what was passed by the National Assembly, what the Bola Tinubu government has committed is treason. Because treason is when you try to rule the country that means except as prescribed by the Constitution. And in this case, it's no different from a coup. I mean, so when you say back and forth, Nigerians try to make things very serious issues as if there is an argument.
No, Barrister, you just say something about what the presidency have committed to be, treason and all that. In this case, who are we to hold responsible? Is it the Senate president who said that the clerk shouldn't release the original copy, or is it the people? Let's just help us actually work on this, because the president signed what was made available to him, and also we're getting that some individuals must have decided to tamper with it and add their own information without the president being aware of it. So who is really going to go in for this treason?
The person that will go in for the treason is Mr. President, because the buck stops on his table. And why do I say this? What he signed was gazetted. So there is even no need to look for any copy from the Senate President. What was passed is also known to all the members of the National Assembly. They have copies. So all we need to do is look at what was passed, copies of which are with the members of the National Assembly, and what was gazetted. And that is the difference we are discussing now. So there is no, you hold the president responsible. The buck stops at his table. Other people who could be culpable include the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, the National Assembly liaison officer to the president, whosoever handled it. But the fact is, Mr. President Bola Tinubu is solely responsible. This character who he made the chairman of his tax commission, the Taiwo lawyer there, who comes up and starts saying that there was a draft gazette, there was a committee we set up, they have no idea what they're talking about. A law has been signed, a bill passed by the NAS, National Assembly, has been signed into law by Mr. Bola Tinubu, and if there is a discrepancy, and not just the typographical, what the discrepancy we're talking about is fundamental. Issues that remove the power of the National Assembly to oversight the tax process, issues that ensure that you have to pay a deposit of 20% when the National Assembly said that you must not pay a deposit. So they are fundamental issues.
Okay.
It's not a
Barrister, we hear people in government say, look, this is political noise coming from the opposition. But Senator Ndume has said, look, suspend this tax, the implementation of this tax law. Yesterday, a group of Nigerians, pockets of, protests here and there, saying, look, the tax implementation should not take effect from January 2026. We also have people in government who have said nothing is going to stop this tax implementation taking off on the 1st of January. Now, where does that leave Nigerians?
Yes, thank you very much. When the people in government are saying that despite the clear, brazen criminality that occurred, they will implement it, that tells you that the issue of treason is deliberate. They are not mistaken about it. And if they are not mistaken about it, Nigeria should not be mistaken about resisting tyranny, resisting treason. Nigeria should not have any qualms about it, because if they are so definite, yes, they may think they have the police, they have the army, but Nigerians say this is wrong. This is a crime that has been committed. Rather than come out and apologize, they are still trying to trust it. Nothing has happened. That is the more reason why I say Mr. Bola Tinubu personally and fundamentally is responsible. And Nigeria should hold him responsible if for any fallout.
Okay.
You cannot just overnight change the laws. Let us not say that this is only a tax issue. What it means is that tomorrow, these same characters can change the constitution and tell us it's only a back and forth issue. It's not a back and forth issue.
Okay.
It's a crime. It's a high treason. It's
High crime against the Nigerian state.
offense.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Mr. Ezeluche. Now let's come to the studio. Mr. Oranta.
Thank you very much.
What do you think Nigerians should do? You know, a lot of Nigerians disagree with this tax law. You know, we're already debating. Nigerians are already debating. You know, that look, it is very harsh. It is not pro-poor as the government made us believe, and all of that. Boom, we heard that, look, there was even an illustration that granted the tax authorities power to take money from people's account and arrest people, you know, defaulters and all of that. What should be Nigeria's response, Nigerians' response? Because we hear the government say, look, nothing is going to stop this. More like trying to force it on Nigerians. What should it be? What should be the reaction of Nigerians?
You know, this is going to be a test case of the will of the people and the government. You see, the government need to be advised that you don't push your luck too far. Because you don't, you know, because Nigerians have been so beaten and we are seen to be so weak that we cannot resist. In fact, our elasticity is unending. When they push us to a wall, we break the wall and we keep moving back and they keep pushing. But every reasonable government will know that you don't push your luck too far. Because the day that elasticity snaps, nobody will be able to control it. So when the people are saying this thing, how could it possibly be that a bill passed by the National Assembly will be abandoned or fundamental aspects of that bill changed, altered fraudulently, and signed into law? How could that be? And then Nigerians are being forced to accept it that way. And even when you look at it, the people, the House of Rep that I created a committee to oversee, to harmonize and find out what happened, you see that they are not serious. The people they call, the members of that committee, he had that man saying, the chairman of that, from the government side, for the tax issue, he said, look, allow the committee to finish their job. That committee will do everything the government wants it done.
Okay.
But I pray that the government should listen to the call by NBA, by the very vocal Ali Ndume in the Senate, and Nigerians in their numbers, saying, don't implement this thing. Don't implement a fraudulent document signed into law. And let us even know what was the agreement reached with France to oversee our tax. These same French companies are the ones that ran the tax system in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali. And these people have been sent packing. Why are they coming to, find a new life in Nigeria? What is it that Nigeria cannot do for themselves? The French will do it for us. So governments have to be careful so that they don't push Nigerians beyond the limits.
Okay.
I don't know where the thing will get to, then the thing will snap. And it will be very, very bad.
All right, Honorable Felix Pulevo, let's get your opinion on this. Do you think Nigerians will ever react to something like this, especially when we're told by a leader that Nigeria should calm down and urge or allow the committee already set in place to do their findings and complete their investigation before drawing conclusion, even as the presidency is telling Nigerians that on the first day of January 2026, the new tax law will take effect. And Nigerians shouldn't bother because your NIN, it's already what you have as your tax PIN. And also those who are running corporate affairs business, whatever thing that the CAC gave to them as their red number is what they will be using for the money to be collected. So how do you think Nigerians will react to this? And also the committee that was set in place to look into this, the plenary will begin again, I think January 15th. That's like 14 days already before or after the implementation of the new tax law.
Okay, Frank.
All right, let's get your opinion on this, Frank Ahoyoshun, because I was told that we lost connection to Honorable Pascal Polevo. Frank Ahoyoshun, what do you make of this, please?
I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, so before I land on these questions you just asked, I want to highlight something pertaining to what was discussed earlier, with reference to what the very witty and articulate legal experts in this said. When he used the phraseology, religion of peace, I normally take exception to that acclaim, which has become very, very, as in rampant. They say Islam is a religion of peace. I beg to differ, please. I'm not calling another religion of peace, but based on empirical evidence, the fact that you can highlight one verse in the Quran that talks about peace does not detract from tens and hundreds that clearly emphasize the extremity of violence and proper force. And the history is there to prove it. Like I said, I'm not trying to say that there is another religion that is religion of peace. For me, on the scale, no doubt, there are some religions that are far more pro-peace than others. Nobody's contesting it. But I take exception to the fact that it's been, in my opinion,
all right.
very
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahios. Please, we need you, we understand you. Please, weigh in on the tax issue because we're out of time.
Yes, I was already en route there before you interjected me. Now, on the tax issue, I concur absolutely with the legal experts. You see, it only gives credence to what I said earlier, that Nigeria is a comedy of sorts. In a saner climb, can you hear of such absurdity? That a law is passed, signed by the president, or passed by the National Assembly, the legislature, which is the lawmaking arm of government, the most vital arm in terms of representation and reflective of the people's choices. Then what is now signed into law is different from what was passed. How else do you describe that? Is that not worse than banditry? So it simply confirms the fact that what we call government in Nigeria is actually a comedy of sorts. And I thank God that there is a concept of consensus that ensures that the collective makes progress. Because if these people take us for granted on, they will not get that consensus. And by the fact that the consensus is diminishing, it gives the people the wherewithal to resist at any level.
All right.
This tax law cannot be enforced because the people can see the loopholes already from the outset.
Thank you
Why
so
swim in
much.
such a pool of deception? I'm sorry, before I go, just a point of emphasis again.
All right.
You see, it is very painful that government finds it very easy to enforce laws or attempt to enforce laws that pertain to punishing the people, the masses. But they will not attempt to enforce laws that pertain to the general good, especially when it pertains to the elite. Over how many $billions was spent on refurbishing NNPC? They are grounded. Nobody's held to account. They are playing some game of PDD. Nobody is shown to be held to account for due consequence. But when it comes to the people, they are very in a hurry to deal with them. Just like they were in a hurry to remove fuel subsidy. Why they could not be in a hurry to deal with those that were criminalizing the fuel import process.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Comrade Frank Ahoyoshun. We understand, how you feel about all that's happening in Nigeria. We've talked about the insecurity and also the help coming from U.S. and also maybe possible help from President Benjamin Netanyahu of, Israel. And we've touched also on the tax reform. But we have another interesting topic I want us to look at. I need your opinion on this. As Nigerians are grappling with economic hardship and everything, Ghana authority at this point continues to crack down on Nigerians. Recall they were arrested 48 persons before now, and they've also deported 42. But we also learned that the Ghanaian authority have increased their crackdown on Nigerians as alleged 48 Nigerians over involvement of romance scam, online investment fraud, and other cyber crimes related offenses were arrested and also on their way back to this country. The arrests were carried out during a coordinated security operation in Dahoinya within the Ngo Pram constituency in Ghana. The operation came less than a week after Ghana deported 42 Nigerians, like I told us earlier, from the Ashanti region over alleged prostitution, fraud, and related crimes. The earlier deportations were disclosed by Frank Amor Akone, who is Ashanti Regional Minister, and that was made available on his post on Facebook, dated December 18, 2025. Mr. Somi Uranta, Nigerians are having so many challenges. But now we also learned that the Ghanaian authority are deporting. Why is, I don't want to say most, but why is it that most times you have Nigerians' names appear, especially within African countries, and on the bad lights? In South Africa, they're being accused of drug peddling. We have this xenophobic attack happening there. Nigerians should go. In Ghana again, prostitution, internet fraud, and all that, and they're sending and deporting Nigerians back. What do you have to say about this, please?
You see, these are fallouts of bad governance. There's a dearth of leadership in Nigeria. I was discussing with a friend, in Shanghai, only 2 days ago. And we were discussing about the fact that virtually, you see, thousands or millions of Nigerians who are said to be, content creators. And the organizers, the promoters of these apps, are monetizing it, paying us money for doing almost nothing. So in the next 10 years, Nigerians, our youth, will discover that we have spent 10 years doing nothing, not improving ourselves academically, not improving ourselves technical-wise, or in any way. Just do funny things and they are paying you money for it. Meanwhile, these apps are used for something meaningful in their own areas. Only recently, TikTok banned the use of their app late night, all those live streaming, because of the XX content, at night.
I wanted to ask you, should we always blame the government for this, the movement of people outside the country and the fact that when Nigerians leave this country, they act irresponsibly? Mr. Uranta, you and I, we are not very healthy. We are not very wealthy, but we are not criminals. And we have a lot of people staying here, eking out a living. So, must we always blame the government?
Yes.
Can people take responsibility?
Yes, I blame the government because they are failure of creating an enabling environment for us to thrive. Drive the people.
You and I, we are thriving here.
We are sweating, sweat and blood.
Okay.
Yes, we are sweating, and I don't have any right to stop anybody. To blame anybody who cannot bear what I'm bearing.
Now, when these people go outside, instead of getting into the system to do what is right, as some Nigerians do, we have Nigerians as the most...
They've been programmed fraudulently back here. They've been programmed fraudulently back here. You see the system where they say a bill passed by a National Assembly, get into the executive. That law is fraudulently altered and signed into law. And I tell you that you must take it. So you see all these fraudulent activities of government and its agencies and all that.
All right.
It's impacting negatively on the system.
Mr. Somi Uranta blames the government. Let's go to Barrister Eze Luche, if he's still with us, and get his reaction to the fact that even Ghana is deporting Nigerians. Barrister Eze, we need you to react briefly and use it as a wrap on the show.
I don't think it's an issue of bad governance. I think it's an issue of the characters we have placed as our rulers. Because the international community, the world, all these countries, they look at the kind of people we have projected as rulers of Nigeria. They go through their dossier, they know them. They say, okay, your president has problems with his date of birth, parentage, schooling, qualifications, that he paid fine for drug trafficking related offenses in the US. Your vice president has issues with terrorism. The chief of staff of the president was debarred in the United States. The chief president of the Senate has corruption charges, monumental corruption charges. They just look at the people in government and they see criminality all over. So why would they not suspect that even the ordinary Nigerians are criminals? That is why even when you travel with a Nigerian passport and you are brought aside to be properly scrutinized, it's not that you've done anything wrong. It's just that they know who is ruling your country. They know that you have criminals in the highest political offices. They know that you have ambassadors who have just declared, people like Arek, who over $40-something million cash was seen in his house. They know that you have a lot of criminals who have been sent in as ambassadors to those countries. Why would they not be worried?
Okay.
And I don't blame Ghana or Benin or the United States, which has recently placed a visa issue, because every country wants to protect itself and its
All right
citizens
then.
from
All right
both
then.
elements.
All right. Thank
So
you very
the problem
much,
is, next
Barrister
time we have
Eze
elections, sorry, let me just land.
Okay.
Next time we have elections, we should ensure that good people only, not criminals, are projected to rule Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Eze. Now let's go to Benin and get a reaction from Mr. Frank Hilson. And I'd like for you to use this opportunity and give us your concluding thoughts as well. Hello, Frank, can you hear me? I'll need for you to unmute your mic so that we can get your audio feed.
Okay, yes, I can hear you very well.
In 30
I didn't know
seconds,
I muted it
please,
before.
in 30 seconds, we're out of time.
Yeah. No, I said what happened in Ghana is not strange. It is what it is. Is it because Ghana just did it? To go to South Africa from Nigeria, people travel to neighboring countries to go and get visa. Isn't that a testimony to get a visa to travel to South Africa? That is the story of Nigeria. The same country where 40 decades ago you didn't need a visa to travel to the UK and some other major countries possibly. So, like I said earlier, things don't get better on their own. Rather, things tend to get worse on their own, in line with Murphy's Law. Where effort is not put in to make things better, they certainly will go worse. Nigeria, unfortunately, is on the path of things getting worse. That is just the truth.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much, Frank.
Well, it's not up to 30 seconds, though. It's really 15 seconds.
It's up to 30 seconds. I took my time to do the monitoring. Thank you so much for being part of today's show. We sincerely appreciate your presence. Frank Ahioshon is a political and public affairs commentator. And also thank you, Barrister Eze Lucia, legal luminary and political affairs commentator over here with us. Honorable Felix Pascal Polevo, we sincerely appreciate your presence. Mr. Somio Ranta, thank you for being part of today's TM. That's This Morning on Voice of the People Television. On behalf of the backroom staff, Mr. Manfred Mbere and Mr. Alex Asoko. We also have our producer and the person of Matthew Augustuada. Thank you so much for being here. And Hazard, thank you for doing the right job with the bars. And then on behalf of my colleague in the studio, Chukuma Okoro, I am Fina Okechuku. Don't go anywhere because 10 o'clock on top of the hour is a newspaper review here on Voice of the People Television. We'll bring you everything the way you're supposed to have it. Bye for now. Enjoy the Boxing Day and show love to one another.
It's a season of love, a season of joy, a season to celebrate you because you deserve it. From all of us at Voice of the People TV, we only want to wish you a very merry, happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year ahead.
This year has been so amazing with you in it. And that's why we're saying from Voice of the People TV, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we love you.
You've been wonderful all through the year.